Hello and welcome to another episode of EMA Cloud Rants. Today we are talking about software-defined hyperconverged system within the context of VMware's vSAN 6.6 launch, Steve. What are software-defined hyperconverged systems? I always thought hyperconverged systems are refrigerators. They cost me a lot of hardware money.
Yeah, that's kind of a misnomer, and I think I can understand that most of the solutions out there are self-contained boxes for hyperconverged. But really, the core of hyperconverged is this idea that you are creating standards for allowing specific hardware components to operate within each other. So by that definition, there's nothing there that says it has to be self-contained within a single box. And then if you look at VMware's approach to this, vSAN actually creates a fabric that works across multiple devices so that you can use heterogeneous hardware environments you could use legacy hardware environments as well in your environment to establish a hyperconverged framework.
It is the old dream of software-defined storage that did not work out for the pioneers that at the time came from Sun Microsystems. They were ahead of their time. Today, people are considering this a lot more. For various reasons that we'll get into in a minute. But you combine the vSAN idea where you abstract the storage from the underlying infrastructure. You just call it, you just talk to storage, a certain storage pool and of a certain storage tier, right? You do the same with NSX and networking, and what you get is independence of the data center. You can stretch between a cloud and another cloud and a data center if the performance is okay. It gives you a whole new level of computing. You don't have to say, ooh, the NetApp guys are not talking to the EMC guys in my company, right? Because it doesn't matter anymore. You request storage for a certain app, the system goes out, looks at policies, looks at performance, and goes and provision it. And
you're leveraging your existing infrastructure, your existing knowledge of managing that infrastructure, and just layering a fabric on top of it that allows it to work optimally.
Steve, the release, we encourage everybody to please read our impact brief for an in-detail review of the release, but there were three key topics that we want to at least very briefly touch on that really bring this vSAN up to a level where we say, yes, it could compete with those hardware appliances. So we have security, we have data durability, and we have performance in this release. Start with security, 2 sentences, very quick.
Yeah, very, very quick. So the core of the security announcement for this release is around encryption. The idea is that the vSAN environment will encrypt the data before it stores it on the data storage environments, so that if physical disk drives were stolen, or walked off the premises, or were in transport and are lost, the data is still encrypted on those and could not be accessed unless it was reconnected to the vSAN environment.
Data durability, the next point here. Now you get a protection of your application environment. Even if one side fails, burns down, you still have the data highly available through a RAID 1 type setup on the disaster recovery side once it's failed over. So you're still really in business, and it would require a true freak incident to take you out entirely, which is basically all that the big expensive solutions are also offering.
Right, precisely. So this is about disaster recovery, really. So this is something VMware's been building up towards for quite a while. They've introduced erasure coding in the last release, and they're leveraging that now to do multi-site data replication. And then essentially for example, if you had 4 sites and you lost one of those sites, the other 3 sites would take over with no failover process. They would just continue running. So you would have extreme data durability. It's always accessible, and high availability and disaster recovery all built in. So you don't need a third-party backup and disaster recovery solution.
Right. And this actually is the claim that, based on VMware, I believe, they make statements such as 50% potential savings. While we are not going to comment on the percentage, it makes intuitive sense that you are going to save money because you're not going to have to buy those highest end SAN refrigerators anymore. if you go for vSAN, you have those capabilities. So that's a big step forward. And finally, we want to cover, and I'll do those two very quickly because we're almost out of time. We want to cover performance where they are continuously tweaking their algorithms, and they're continuously working with Intel and with other hardware vendors to support their flash arrays to a better degree and really take advantage of everything that Flash can do, and they claim 30 to 50% performance improvement. And finally, we have Docker support. vSphere Docker Volume Service is out in a new version since March, and what this does is it lets you use persistent shared storage for Docker and Kubernetes container management frameworks. You can address that by API or by SDK, and it solves this pesky problem about containers popping up and being retired and mapping volumes against those and keeping that under control and compliant and secure. That's a big, big deal, and the latest release that just coincided with vSAN 6.6 is covering that. So Steve, your final words, the significance of VMware vSAN 6.6 as available of April 18th, right?
Right, absolutely, and what I believe is that VMware is really doubling down on their commitment towards software-defined solutions. Also, with the Docker announcement, really talking about wanting to support multiple environment requirements within that environment. Certainly, going after cloud services, managing cloud environments that are highly available, highly resilient solutions. So it's broadening the market for VMware.
Thank you, Steve. This was another episode of EMA Cloud Rants.